Welcome back. This is the Weekend Report. I'm Masachaba Mposwa. Policing Union Pop Crew has called for Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Policing Chairperson Ian Cameron to be removed from the committee. Now, this is after Cameron slammed the disciplinary outcome absolving Deputy President Paul Mashatile's 8 VIP protection officers of wrongdoing after they were caught on video assaulting a motorist on the N1 in 2003. Now, we now speak to the South African Police Union about this outcome and what insights were involved in the disciplinary process. Spokesperson Lesiba Thobakgale joins us now. Lesiba, good morning and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Hey, good morning, Mas Chaba. Thank you for having us and greetings to your viewers.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, just a correction there, I believe this is a 2023 incident. But firstly, can you explain the SAPU's stance on the acquittal of the VIP officers involved in the assault on motorists?
From our side, as we were the representatives of those members in the disciplinary processes, we welcome the outcome thereof because we have done our due diligence to represent members. As a trade union, has a responsibility to represent members in terms of the Labour Relations Act and also forming its establishment. So that responsibility, we carried it out up until we come across those outcomes that were issued by the chairperson after everything has been presented before the chairperson. I think what seems to be an issue with other people is that when they have certain outcomes that they are looking for in certain processes that they are not even involved in, then they happen to make even comments that are not supposed to be made. But we did due diligence to the members. I mean, even the beginning when this issue broke out in the media, we were, right upfront to say that no one should judge the members. They should be allowed to go through the necessary processes, which is investigation, to really look at whether there's a prima facie case against the members. And that was done. That's why they were then subjected to a disciplinary process, which then the outcome out of the representations that was done by SAPU, then they happened to be acquitted. And also even maybe touching on what Mr. Ian Cameron has said, is that he must not try our members on the media. It looks like he is quite a populist. He likes to really be popular on the media, but we would not allow that to be done with our members because our members were subjected to due processes. And further to that, even in terms of disciplinary regulations of 2016, it clearly outlines that a discipline is a line management function, meaning that the management of SAPS has that responsibility when there are allegations to investigate. And if there's something one has to answer to, then they subject it to the disciplinary processes, which has unfolded in this case. And as far as we know, Mr. Ian Cameron, he's not even a line manager of those members. He's not even a manager in SAPS. And for him to make such remarks about the members, and in this case, we find it to be quite unfortunate. And we are sending a warning to him that he must stop making such comments.
But he is supposed to keep the SAPS accountable, right? As per his role in the committee. Now, is physical assault, kicking and beating people an acceptable behavior for police officers as you are representing these officers?
We are not condoning any form of violence or whatsoever. But zooming straight into this case, Mas Chaba, I think we even said it even from the beginning to say we only see at the end of the video. We don't get to be shown where everything started from. We don't want to dwell into the merits of the case because we dealt with the case inside the tribunal. And remember, this matter, it is still sub judice. It is still before the courts. So we don't want to make any other further comments in relation to that. Our point we are making is that discipline is a line management function. The members were subjected to the disciplinary processes. If they were not subjected to the disciplinary processes and then they happen, to be acquitted, that would be a different story. But disciplinary regulations of 2016, which was followed up until we finding that outcome, which was made by the chairperson, who is then appointed by the employer in this regard as well. So I think that is where we need to look at it from that perspective and not try to really make other stories out of this case, which internally has been dealt with. The only side that is left, it is the criminal case side, which we would not even comment on it as well, because it is still standing before the courts.
All right. Now, does the SAPU's defense of these officers suggest that you're prioritizing the interests of the police members over those of the public that they're supposed to protect?
Police are carrying a constitutional mandate to serve and protect, and it remains throughout. It goes without asking. When one signs up to be a police officer, they sign up to really serve and protect, to really uphold that constitutional mandate. And where there's incidents and so on, members, they have to be represented accordingly, because they are also employees. In terms of the code of good practice, their side of the story has to be heard. That is why one gets to be subjected to what we call a disciplinary process. And in this regard, it has been. It is not about the interests, only on the interests of the members versus the interests of the public. It is about the interest of everyone. The police are serving the public in terms of the constitutional mandate, and even the police themselves, they are workers. Their rights must also be protected. If they have cases against them, they get to be presented before a tribunal. They need to be represented by a trade union. If one has exercised that freedom of association by associating themselves with a specific union, in this regard, those members associated themselves with SAPU, thus we represented them. So it is not even about striking the balance between the two. All of them, they are important, and their safety, it is important, both of the police and both of the members of the society.
All right. Lesiba, let's talk about the optics. I mean, we have seen video footage of this assault of ordinary members of the public. How are we supposed to feel as members of the public when we see men in blue uniform? I mean, what message do you think this acquittal sends to the public and to SAP's members as well?
Unfortunately, Ms. Chaba, we cannot comment on that video further, I think, further than we have. I think we have clearly placed it to say the issue of the video, it's unfortunate that one only sees the last part thereof. And a video, you know, there's what we call admission of evidence in between. When you go to court, and even when you go through a disciplinary process thereof, I think we should not take it from a perspective to say it's perceptions. I think perceptions are the ones that created expectations from people like Mr. Ian Cameron to say that those members would be dismissed, and when they don't get to be dismissed, then he started to lash at the trade unions, in this regard, even us. So we should not take it from that level. I think we should look and also allow the processes, because if we don't allow processes, then our perceptions will make us to become judges, and we don't want the members of the society, even ourselves, to become judges, because ultimately we would be trying the members on the media and giving our own opinions. So we rather allow everything as a principle that we subscribe to say, if there's allegations, let due processes follow. The outcomes of the due processes, it's what we would clearly welcome.
But Lesiba, perception is a powerful thing. So how do you as SAPU actually put the members of the public at ease after this viral video that's been seen by hundreds of thousands of people?
Yeah, no, it is the very same thing that we are saying, Ms. Chaba, to say that what you see, it is what you see. But it is not everything that you see, to say where the matter started and so on. That is the caution we are putting on every case, not only a specific part thereof. And remember, when you go through the specific processes, whether you are in court or you are before the internal disciplinary procedures tribunal, that's when now you look at everything, you look at every angle, you look at where the issue really started from. So those perceptions you are referring to, unfortunately, in most cases, they can be deceiving at the end of the day, if one could take those perceptions and just run with them. We want a relationship, a good relationship between the members of society and the police in this regard, because the society needs the police need the members of society.
And there needs to be a relationship of trust as well. Now, do you think that the SAP's disciplinary process is effective in holding officers accountable for their actions?
Clearly it is. I mean, we are forming part of the signatories to that disciplinary regulation because it gets to be negotiated in the bargaining council. I mean, lately we just went through the amendments to the disciplinary case, to the disciplinary regulations, where there was what we call Regulation 9, which is an expeditious process where members were just then presented before a brigadier or up in terms of the rank, without them having their side of the story, looking at only what is presented before them. And we were able to agree with the employer to say it is unfair because most of the members would get to be dismissed, and at a later stage when they go at arbitration, they would then be reinstated because that dismissal would be unfair dismissal. So we just did the amendments. We have full confidence in the disciplinary regulations of the South African Police Services because we have been part and parcel, and everything that we fight for there is, us as a union, is to make sure that the employer does not exploit the rights of the members, the rights of the workers who are in the police, because they are also workers, and that is utmost important to us as a trade union.
So did you represent these officers because they are your members or because you believe that they did the right thing by beating civilians?
Now we represented, I mean, we are carrying that responsibility to represent everyone in a disciplinary tribunal if they associate themselves in terms of the Constitution, freedom of association, and also in terms of the Labor Relations Act, to say that they are then SAPU members. As SAPU members, we carried that responsibility to represent them. For us, in terms of doing representation, we don't sit and be judges and say that this is the case, and we start to be like we are already concluding on the case. We are carrying a mandate and a responsibility in terms of the law to represent members in each and every case in this regard. It is up to the chairperson to say when everything and all evidence has been presented before him or her to make a final outcome thereof, which is not a final. I mean, if we as a trade union, we feel that that outcome, it is not in favor of the employee, we are able to even take it further, to take it to arbitration and even follow other steps in this regard.